I'm about to expose the top 5 worst types of clients on Upwork so that you don't fall prey to lies, manipulation, intimidation, and blackmail. Number 1, cheap clients who, after you've negotiated a price for the project or an hourly rate, they offer you a contract on Upwork for less than the amount that you two have agreed for, sometimes purposefully. These people, they hope that you either don't notice that they've offered you a contract for less money than you've agreed upon so that they don't have to pay you as much as you think you're getting paid, or they hope that you're so afraid that you're gonna lose the job that you're not gonna say anything. It's hard on Upwork to get started. Sometimes freelancers get desperate. Sometimes you want to get a job so much that you're willing to accept things you should not accept. This goes beyond the boundaries of decency. You don't deserve to get paid less than what you have negotiated. Some of these clients will also ask you to communicate outside of Upwork, which you should never do, by the way. And when they communicate with you outside of Upwork, they might tell you that they have made a mistake on the Upwork contract and tell you that they will pay you more money at the end of the job. The problem is, the moment you leave Upwork, the moment your communication leaves Upwork, you are no longer protected by Upwork. So if you leave Upwork with your communication and the client decides not to pay you the extra amount, Upwork is not going to refund that money. It's lost. You will have worked for less money than you anticipated. For a lot of people, this can lead to financial stress because maybe you expected to have that money. Be very careful, and there's a lot of red flags that you can look for these types of cheap clients. Number 1, when you do your research on these clients, which you should always do, always research your clients. You might notice that they've hired a lot of freelancers and yet they've paid almost no money on the platform. Suspiciously low money for all the jobs that they've hired on the platform. You might also notice that they are very insistent upon you communicating with them outside the platform. If you want to avoid scams or bad clients, the number 1 thing that you need to do is just stay on Upwork. Do not communicate outside the platform. I understand you get a job offer, but this is risky. A lot of scammers are on Upwork and you need to protect yourself. Number 2, there's projects with clients who keep the details of the project purposefully vague so that at the end of the project, when you think you're almost done, they start asking you to do more and more revisions and more work that you did not anticipate, and so you end up working for more hours than you expected and making less per hour on average than you expected, and you receive your payments later than expected because you have to do more works than you thought. It's specifically tricky to deal with these clients because after you've accepted the project and after you started doing these revisions, the only thing you can really do is start a payment dispute. As a freelancer, you don't want conflict. You don't want to have to do these payment disputes. You don't want to have to feel like you were disrespected by a client. What I recommend is that you set a specific, clear hourly rate for every work that you need to do outside of those revisions that you've agreed upon with the client. Maybe you decide that you do not offer free revisions, and that's fine. Maybe you decide that you offer 2 revisions, but as long as you communicated that clearly on the platform, it is on record. Number 3, clients who threaten you to give you bad reviews so that you work more or work harder. Honestly, you don't deserve to be disrespected. You don't deserve to be threatened as a freelancer. It's hard to deal with these clients, especially when you're starting out, when you're desperate to get your first few jobs and you're afraid that if you get bad reviews, it's gonna be even harder for you to get your future jobs. When you're starting out on Upwork, it's hard and you really wanna get these good reviews, and dealing with these clients is a nightmare because you feel like you have to do more and more work to over deliver, and you don't even know at the end if they're gonna like the product you deliver. There's really no way to completely avoid these clients, and there's really no way to avoid bad reviews on Upwork. It's just a thing that's gonna happen to you. But what you can do is research your client, go check their previous reviews that they've received. Maybe you will see hints of bad client behavior, and those can help you decide whether or not you wanna work with this client. Number 4, cheap clients who offer you low hourly rates but pretend that it's just a test period and that in later projects, they're gonna pay you more money. Often these guys make job postings that look amazing. They try to make job postings that offer a lot of money. They try to make job postings that offer great working conditions, maybe long-term. And so what happens is freelancers find these types of projects, they start talking with the clients, and the clients start offering them these trial periods where they offer lower hourly rates than what the client expected. And so what happens is that the freelancer wants to get that job so much that they're going to be willing to take a risk and work for lower amounts of money than what they expect to get because they want to get maybe that high-paying job or that long-term job. But the thing is that these long-term opportunities, these higher-paying future projects often don't exist. These cheap clients just want you to do work for cheaper. Often what happens is just that you think that it's just for your first project that you're not gonna get paid a lot of money. Sometimes you do get more projects with these clients, but oftentimes they just keep paying you the same amount of money. And when you start negotiating and start asking to get paid more money, they just refuse or go hire other freelancers. And there's actually a lot of red flags that you need to look out for this type of project. The first one is if you notice that in the job posting, the majority of the job posting is just the client looking like they're trying to sell you on working for them. Normal job postings are not designed to just sell you on wanting to work with them. If you look at the client's profile and you notice they've hired a lot of freelancers, but they paid very little amount of money, you can realize that they've probably done the same thing to a lot of other freelancers. Maybe they've hired a lot of freelancers, all promising them that they're gonna get great work opportunities with them in the future. They never deliver on that. They just want cheap work with workers who are going to do their best because they're hoping to get a good future with them. It's just deceitful, disgusting, manipulative, and scummy. The last red flag that you can identify is if they pretend it's the test period and they're trying to screen if you're the right person for them. Try to look if they have specific clear guidelines on how they're going to evaluate whether or not you're the right freelancer for them. If they do not have clear guidelines, it's probably because they're not really evaluating you. It's probably because they just pretend to evaluate you so that you do more work for cheaper. Number 5, even worse, clients who ask you to work for free to test you. Very similar to the last one, but these ones are worse. A lot of them, they ask for free work, but they never hire anyone. Clients who need, for example, maybe illustrations for a book, they can ask 30 different artists to make an illustration for a page of their book. They all tell them, hey, it's a test work. If they do that with 30 different artists, they just got 30 images for free. Do they really need to hire artists after that? The work is done. They've got all the images they need. Whenever you do it, if you can, make sure you watermark your projects so that the client could not use them for free. If the client really wants to use it, they can use it, but they're gonna pay you so that you remove the watermark. There's nothing more frustrating than working really hard because you really wanted that job and it was just a waste of time. One of the problems with these types of clients is that just like the last type of client, they do their best to make sure that these job postings look as appealing as possible. If it looks too good to be true, if it looks like it pays well, it's easy, it's amazing, it's long-term, it probably is too good to be true. Next red flag, you look at the client's history. If they have spent less than $100 on Upwork, if you look at their profile and it says that they spent less than $100, it can mean that they've spent actually zero money. Clients who've never spent any money, it just says spent less than $100 on Upwork. Doesn't matter if their payment method is verified, that means nothing. Doesn't matter if the job has a trending badge or a hot job badge. These things mean nothing. It can still be a fake job posting designed just to get you to do free work. Again, other red flag, just like the previous one, they don't have clear guidelines on how they're gonna evaluate you. That's a red flag. That's probably a sign that they're probably not really evaluating you. And after watching this video, you might be a little discouraged on Upwork, but I want you to understand that if you're struggling to find jobs on Upwork, it's not that the platform is broken. Upwork works really well, but a lot of freelancers, especially early on, struggle because they're not really good at identifying good job opportunities and they're not very good at sending good proposals, and so their proposals do not get noticed. Even if you send a lot of proposals, if your proposals suck, unfortunately, like most people, you will have to send a lot of proposal and get ignored a lot of the time, and it gets frustrating. If you want to know how to find better job opportunities, avoid scammers, avoid cheap clients, and you want to know how to write proposals that stand out. I recommend you click the link in the description, go check out my new course, Upwork Proposal Secrets. I show you all of that, and I also show you how to set hourly rates mathematically to increase the likelihoods that you do get the jobs that you want to get. And with that, if you have any questions about it, ask me in the comments, and I'll see you in my next videos.